Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're gonna do a discussion video about, well, some mistakes that Kramer has done this last update. I have been waiting to um, check some things and to clear my mind on this topic. So let's get right into it. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, what are we going to talk about? First of all, before I forget, we didn't receive the missions for the last copy of Grindhouse. Let's see, over here. So, it says that the period to get the weapon is going to be until the 19th, so technically we still have time. So maybe next week they'll put the last copy of Grindhouse, which, I mean, they make us wait too much to get the all the copies of the weapon and supporter. We already have all the copies of the supporter, but that's a thing. So keep an eye next week because we already got the mission on Halloween Party, the weekly mission, and we're waiting for a surprise mission that give us the Grindhouse special. So that's one thing. Now, uh, issue, known issue. Error on items in certain pickup gachas. So, thank you for playing. Following the maintenance of November 5th, we have identified and addressed the following issues. Certain items could not be acquired on the current renewal pickup gacha. Some UR weapons, 3 UR weapons. This is, I know this one, it's from um, Tokiko. Maybe all of them are for Tokiko. Now that I think of it, Narakusan and Fomorian Edge are from Tokiko. Throwing, yeah, they're definitely Tokiko's weapon. They were not added for some reason, but honestly, I mean, it wasn't that much of an issue because if you were rolling on Kurenai's gacha, you wanted to get Kurenai's weapon. So another one less pick was okay as long as you didn't intend to get a copy of didn't want to get a copy of those specific weapons. Let's see, where are Kurenai's? No, not Kurenai's. Tokiko's weapon for Morian Edge, Todomeki, Narakusan. Yeah, those are Tokiko's weapons. So they weren't available in the gacha, which is bad, yes, but not disastrous. Then, certain weapons appear multiple times in the pickup list of Kurenai renewal pack. Magatsugari, Twin Sword, Cornets of Supremacy. So I guess that they were only listed, not like they have double the rate. And these are Kurenai's weapons. So yeah, it's an odd mistake, but nothing too worrisome. The issue has been now corrected, blah blah blah. Yeah, so this happened, and depending on what you wanted to get from the gacha, this might have been an issue for you, and maybe we should have received compensation for this. Like, technically, it's not that big of a deal, but for people who were expecting to get a copy or two of Tokiko's weapon while rolling for Kurenai's weapon, it's definitely bad. So that's one issue. And this is the one that doesn't matter that much and doesn't affect us that much. This one. This one. Wait a moment, is this the one? Well, there's many issues. There were many issues. So, incorrect pricing of support in VR and one additional issue. I think it is. Let's see. So, following the maintenance of November 5th, we have identified and addressed the following issue. The supporter Massacre Shinganji Kurenai was listed for 5,000 VR points instead of 15,000 VR points, and the supporter White Knight Asagi was mistakenly included in the exchange facility item list. So, how did they fix this? the price for Massacre Kurenai will remain 5,000 VR points, and the rest of the current sales for the rest of the current sale period. So that means that you can grab this supporter at 5,000 VR points instead of 15, which is pretty nice and affordable. And users who purchase Massacre Kurenai at the original price will be given a refund of 10,000 BR points, which I got that and it was okay. Um, in this case, they own their mistake and that's pretty good. But what I have an issue with is the other problem. And also keep in mind, after the sale period, the next limited supporter will be sold at the intended price. So don't think that this is the standard. This was actually an accident, but they own it, and that's cool. That's cool. Then, the exchange facility issue has been corrected. Players restart the game if you have not received the update. So let's go to the game, to special activities, to exchange facility. So what was the issue? In the limited supporter, you could see the supporter for White Knight Asagi. And actually, all the seasonal weapons and supporters cannot be obtained from the exchange facility. That was something that I didn't know. I didn't take notice of until this mistake, which is terrible. But that's a topic we're gonna leave for later. Let's focus on what happened. I don't know if people were guaranteed to get a copy if they did a roll on the exchange facility while the error was available. I was lucky enough to take advantage of that error. I didn't know. I was just re-rolling and I said, oh, cool, I got a copy of White Knight Asagi. And I was like, cool, one less to worry about. And then I noticed the maintenance happen and the update notes and everything. And I was like, well, are they going to remove this copy and give me back my supporters? And no, they won't do that. As you can see, I still have it 5 out of 5. And they are not going to give me back the supporters that I had. It's a whole mess to try and do that. So they prefer to just say, you know what, keep that copy and forget about it. It is just simple for the devs. And it is actually a good thing that they do not remove this copy that I got. And it poses an issue. That's the thing. That these supporters, the seasonal supporters, Massacre Kurenai, Carol, Emily, Holy Knight Kirara, Fairy, Shadow Fairy Sakura, Shaman Yukikaze, all of those are extremely rare because they don't get reruns. And you can get, if you skip that event, you can get a copy of the seasonal supporter on their corresponding pack, and those are for sale. Like they get reruns, sure, that's nice, but it is not nice to get this supporter and weapon if you have to spend 5 nanomachines and 5 demonites in order to max this out. In fact, the fact that we don't get the at least 4 copies in the campaigns is already messy. Like currently right now, she has 4 out of 5, and I will never get up until this point, we have never gotten ways to get the 5th copy F2P. So that's a shame. Like the 4th copy, because the 5th one should be the one that you buy with the pack. So, Gremory really, really, really needs to add ways for players to grab this seasonal equipment. All of them. Maybe a voucher, a select voucher, is too much to ask for. Then put recurring rewards that give us seasonal tickets. At the very least, Grammar, come on. I mean, what for players who did take advantage of the campaigns, a way to get a copy 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. But for players who weren't on the campaign, this is a way to actually get those useful supporters, because a good amount of the seasonal supporters are pretty viable. Kurenai is definitely viable, the Massacre Kurenai. Um, Yatsu Murasaki is usable. It isn't like busted or anything, but it's definitely usable, especially on normal content. Let's see, who else? White Knight Tasagi is very good. Uh, who else? Checking. Oh, this one is not that great, but it's usable for some niche strategies. Holy Knight Kirara is just amazing, and it would be great if people have more than one copy of this. Uh, Gunslinger enemy Emily isn't that important. Shaman Yukikaze is not that great. Blue Lady Rinku is not that great. But then we have others which are very, very good, like New Year Shiranui, and also where are you? Oh, there she is. Shadow Fairy Sakura. Remory, please give us a way to get copies of seasonal supporters and weapons. There's a bunch of newer players who don't have these, and they are pretty good, and they are F2P. I mean, they can sell the packages, that's fine. They can limit the copies, but let us get the other things F2P, please. Let us get the 4 out of 5 copies, or get multiple copies with some random tickets or something. It's super necessary to implement this. And all this topic comes from the fact that these supporters and weapons are not included in the pool here. I was surprised. I didn't pay attention, and I didn't notice that detail, which is a very significant detail. If you look at the whole list, you're gonna see that there's no Holy Knight Kirara here. Santa Princess Animals. It should be around here. And if we look around, yeah, nothing about the seasonal supporters and weapons. Holy Knight Rinko, Holy Knight Ingrid, and no Holy Knight Kirara. So, Remory, come on. I mean, this is supposed to be F2P. And I get you sell the pack, and that's fine, that's fine. But give us ways to get, I don't know, 1 or 2 tickets for both weapons and supporters each month or something. Even if they're random. Anyways, let's see. That's not the only thing. We have even more. So, about the critical rate formula. So, Darius contacted me again to update me on the formula. So, it is not exactly as we thought, because he was, I suppose that he was checking the formula specifically for the first stage of Master Taimanin. So, the previous formula that we saw, it capped at stage 35, because the coded version of Master Taimanin has extra critical rate resistance. But if you see, the second stage, the one that is uncoded, goes up to step 95, and on 95 you get the maximum amount of critical resistance or critical penalty that the enemy is going to have. And that's I think that's gonna be the case for all the bosses. We still gotta check that, but it is, as I mentioned, it is a thing. It is there. If we know the formulas, we can actually make a build that guarantees that we can crit. But why are we addressing this? Because there's something else that isn't quite right, and that's the description for one of the effects of Azusa. Fortunately, guys, don't worry too much. It is the extra passive. That's the effect that isn't being described properly. The other things are fine, and they do what they're supposed to do. And this is the main use of Azusa. So this misleading description it is not that important, but even so, it's bad that Gremory does this. So what's happening here is that because Gremory doesn't explain properly their damage formula, it's difficult to actually um, put the right words into the game so that this reflects the actual effect. So how does Azusa work when she inflicts this debuff onto the enemy? Well, here I have a little quote from Darius. If your critical rate is 85%, the value is gonna in the maths is gonna be 8,500, and it targets critical resistance, and it targets crit resistance is 80%. So the critical penalty is going to be 80%, and your critical rate is 85. So you just subtract that, and you get a 5% critical rate, which is going to be 500 points. Okay? And then when the debuff is active, that is going to be multiplied not by 28 but by 1.14. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe this should be at base level, and it should increase at max level, but Darius told me that it's this for some reason. So basically, the remaining critical rate that you have gets multiplied when the debuff is applied, which is convoluted and difficult to put in words in the description, especially if players do not know these formulas and stuff. So that's why they decided to put it this way, but it's not actually subtracting this from the critical penalty, nor is it giving you a 14% after a critical penalty. It's multiplying by it, so it's 1.14. So you would get I am not good at math. So these many points that get translated into this critical rate. So I think it's 5.7 critical rate percent. I don't know. You can tell me. You can do the formula, guys. But anyways, it is annoying that even these things cannot be properly written because we don't know the whole formula and stuff. As I mentioned, it is not that much. It is not that important because this effect isn't the main appeal of Azusa. But even so, if you were trying to do it, you would think, well, this is going to help me out this way. But it's actually not doing it that way. So it is messy. That's what it is. It's messy. Gremory, what's up with this mod? Like, after the anniversary, which for the most part was pretty okay, just a couple, like, mistakes or bad decisions, but overall pretty great. And then we start with a mod that comes with a lot of errors. Well, it is what it is. Don't be mad at it. It's just small mistakes. What we should be mad about is the lack of ways to get seasonal weapons and supporters after their original release. Because after the original release, we have only gotten reruns for the packs, and that's it. And that's awful. So if you dislike that, please comment Gremory. Please do reruns of the campaigns for the supporters, for the seasonal supporters, so that we can get more copies, or well, add some other ways to get them in game after the campaigns. We really need them. And regarding Azusa, as I mentioned, yeah, it definitely sucks that the description isn't accurate for what it's actually doing. But it isn't even the main appeal of the supporters, so just ignore it. Trust me, you're gonna use this more on the soft slot than anything, so even though it's annoying, it isn't that bad. And yeah, it's misadvertising, but whatever, whatever. Like that's memory for you, you know. Anyways, tell me what you think in the comments about all these mistakes. Tell me if you think they are working with a potato server. No, they're not working with a potato server, but they're definitely short staff or something. I don't know what happened after this anniversary, but there were too many mistakes. Well, anyways, I'll read you in the comments and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!